Hello and welcome to Queendom TV, and today we're going to be talking again about Billie Eilish, which is a new series we've got on the channel, guys, so check out that playlist if you want to see my other videos. Today we're going to be talking about the power of family, because one thing that stuck out to me from Billie Eilish before and until now is the importance of her family in her life and the roles that they've played. And as I've been researching, more and more about her to be able to, make these videos and stuff, I've been just noticing this trend of her family just being this consistent thing that have always been there for her. Like, I've got a video coming up talking about like the evolution of Billie Eilish through her Vanity Fair interview. So check that video out when it comes, because she's been doing those for 5 years now. I believe she started in 2017. And she always does them on the same date in October every year. And so I'm going to do a whole video talking about that. And one thing that was shown even in that and elsewhere is just the importance of her family. I know it's definitely because of her family that she got into music in the first place. She performs even with her brother Phineas as well, and so that just being part of the foundation of her music and everything. But I think the reason why I want to talk about this more, not just the foundation and the initial support that she would have needed that many people didn't have in Hollyweird, as we know, is also more the fact that like she actually has had their continued support. And I know she's been through a lot. There's been so much that she's gone through, both being a child in this industry, obviously now she's an adult, and navigating that, getting very famous very, very quickly, as well as just the ebbs and flows of life in general, going through all these different stages, all the various things she's been through. I think that the fact that she seems to be doing so well now and so much better is actually is massively because of her family. I feel like the support that she has from them, and the fact that, I mean, she even talked about how she gets the best guidance from her mum. Her mum is always the person she goes to. That's her number one go-to person, and her mum always comes to her Vanity Fair interviews as well. She's really cute seeing her mum there, and having that kind of grounding is so important. I've talked about on my channel about Tia and Tamara, who did Sister Sister and various other shows, and I talked about how them having their family as a grounding and support system, I believe, has helped them to have such long successful careers, because even though they've had to be involved in such a crazy industry, they've always had people who like have their back. They've always had people who give them a sense of home, and who always had their best intentions from the very beginning and knew who they were before. And I really believe that's what Billie has in her family. She was asked about who her best friends. Every single time she's mentioned her brother and or other family members, her mom and her dad, and I think that's amazing. And for her to have mentioned both of her parents, I feel like they're just such a beautifully close-knit family. And I wanted to highlight this specifically because this is what happens when things are the way that they're supposed to be. Like, in the society we live in today, people are very sensitive when it comes to talking about family members and thinking that maybe family members might not have somebody's best interests at heart, right? And I get it. This is not me trying to talk against parenting, because I understand, that and I appreciate that, being a parent is hard, and I don't think that for somebody like Billie that her parents necessarily found parenting easy, which is really the point of what I'm trying to say here. It's not about criticizing a particular role, as in an elder or a parent or a family member or a manager or whatever. It's about that person's intention and their dedication to doing that. And I think you see examples of this so many times where somebody, and even Billie says, my mum doesn't even know the industry like this. It's crazy that she goes to her mum for guidance for dealing with the industry, but because of the care her mum has, and her mum consistently doing the best, consistently supporting her, that is being so helpful to her. And I think this is something that should be more normal. It should be what we're used to. It should be what's expected. It should be the result for a lot of the people in the industry, but it just isn't. And I think we have to actually understand and address that that's just not the case for everybody. And I'm so happy for Billie. I'm grateful seeing how she looked in, and thank you, you know who you are, who sent me the Vanity Fair interview. And it's actually funny as well, because I actually always end up somehow watching those Vanity Fair interviews, just because it's fascinating to see the evolution of somebody, which is why I'm doing a whole video on it. But seeing how good she was looking and how better she was feeling, and I talked to one of my previous videos which I may actually take down. I talked about how you know, her vibe and how she's been through a lot, and why my kind of initial impression of her when she first came out, when I first heard of her, and just seeing where she is now, seeing what she's been through. I really believe that, you know, having her family there for her in those tough times is why she hasn't ended up, you know, like other people who people might think have deserved to be in conservatorships, or maybe have ended up massively addicted to drugs. I don't know if she is or isn't addicted to drugs at this stage of my research, but you know, she seems to be feeling very stable, doing very well. She looks amazing. She looks youthful. She looks happier than she's looked in previous years. And she just looks lighter. She looks lighter. And I feel like it's because, you know, having that kind of grounding, having that kind of support makes such a difference. We talked about this with Jessie Nelson as well, because I talked about how I feel like with her, because she had so much support from her family, and the close ones, that was actually what eventually led her to realize that the way that she felt being around the other girls, the way that she felt around certain people wasn't right, because why was she feeling so okay? Why was she feeling so good amongst like her family members, but then when she's with the girls, or when she's with, you know, the industry people, she's not feeling confident in herself. Family can play such a big role. And again, this is not me trying to attack parenting or anything like that, or people's failures. What I'm addressing is the fact that this makes a difference when people actually do their best. It makes a difference. And this is why so many people are not getting the support they need. This is why so many people, I feel like the industry is taking a toll on them, because I don't believe that if God designed for us to be alone, then we would be alone. If God designed for us to be alone, then I could just impregnate myself, and whoever could just do whatever, and there wouldn't be such a benefit of talking things out and saying things to people. You know, I believe God created us to enjoy each other as people, and to have each other for different roles. That's why I think when you got healthy relationships in your life, when you have good relationships on all levels, it helps you to be a very healthy person. If you have a stable and good relationships with your siblings, that's one type of relationship. Then you have friends. You have some friends maybe that you help a bit more than they help you, then other friends that they help you more than you help them. Then you have elders who you learn from. Then you have people below who are you're an elder to, who you help. Then, you know, there's this whole ecosystem. You have some friends maybe you go out with and you do fun things with. You have maybe other friends where you're more of, let's come together and meet indoors and have a meal and talk about what's going on. You know, there's all these different levels of relationships I believe we're supposed to have in our life. You know, like they say, it takes a village to raise a child. I believe that, you know, and I think in this day and age, as I always say, there's less and less accountability being taken towards children. Less and less people are taking accountability over their loved ones. It's more and more of, oh, but I'm trying. And that's why I'm saying that, you know, when people say it's an attack on parenting, or people feel that, it's not about that, because it's not about how well you're doing on that job. It's about you just doing that job to the best of your ability. And there are a lot of people who know that they're not doing that. There are a lot of people who'd rather blame somebody else. You know, you see this classic example when you see certain like children who, like, it will be in a school situation, and the first thing they do something wrong, and then the teacher gets upset towards the parents and says, look what the child has done, and the child says, oh, it's whoever they're hanging around with. It's like, if everybody's just always blaming somebody else and going to somebody else, who's going to actually make the difference? You know, who's going to actually help? And when it comes to stuff like that, yeah, maybe it's easy to overlook, because you can just say, oh, this child is just badly behaved. Again, I don't believe things come out of nowhere, right? But then when hard times come along and people need somebody to turn to, now I believe, obviously, ultimately, I believe God is the one we all turn to, and he is the only one. No one's ever going to outdo his love. No one's ever going to outdo the way he is there for us, and we need him first, because no one's ever going to be God in our lives. But I also believe that he uses other people, and he gives us other people that are supposed to feed into our lives, that are supposed to be there for us, that we should be able to call, and they are reliable sources we should be able to go to for guidance. And so this idea in society today, it's like, I feel like a lot of people are throwing away, like, oh, you have to be so self-sufficient. Like, even therapy, that's another thing that, like, I have no issue with therapy. I think therapy is great, and I think it's so helpful in society today. But I feel like a lot of people who, again, a lot of in certain situations where it comes to family and stuff, where somebody just needed to have maybe some honest conversations with some of their family members, or some genuine support from their family, instead people say, oh, go to a therapist. It's like, that's great as well, but why are we moving? I just feel like there's a sense that we're moving away from us taking accountability for each other. It's kind of like the whole thing in the Bible where Cain killed Abel, and then when God asked Cain where Abel is, and then Cain's like, am I my brother's keeper, even though he actually killed him. You know, it's that classic thing of like, am I supposed to be looking after him? Well, actually, why not? If you care about him, if you love somebody, why not be there for them? Why not support them? Why not be your brother's keeper? Not to say that you dedicate your whole life to doing that and you derail your own life. Like I said, there's a balance there. And when you have lots of different relationships in your life, different levels of intensity, different places that they roll, then it helps you. And obviously, like I believe, having your relationship with God, then it shapes your life perfectly, and you can be stable and you can be okay. And so I feel like with Billie, having her mum, her brother, who again is her older brother, and all these people there for her, I think has impacted her in ways I don't even think she necessarily understands fully, because she may not understand the experience of not having that. And I'm glad for her for that, because that's how it's supposed to be. People are supposed to have that level of support. Imagine where Britney would be if her parents were like that, and if Britney was going to James for guidance. Imagine how Amanda Bynes could be if the same was happening, you know. Imagine how it would be for so many people if that was their source, you know. Imagine even for Jessie, you know, if for her, as soon as she just listened, because a lot of what her mum was saying is like her mum was not really, in the beginning, was not really, Jessie Nelson I'm speaking about from Little Mix, her mum wasn't really happy about, if you guys are wondering why I throw around all these names and you don't know where these names come from, that's because I talk about these people on my channel. So check out my other videos if you don't know what I'm talking about. Also, don't forget to subscribe. Yeah, so like I feel like her mum also wasn't keen on what was going on. Again, somebody who cares, who's going out of their way to be like, this isn't okay how you're being treated, because we need that in our lives. We're not always going to notice everything, right? This is why I believe God gives us each other to support each other. And this is why I think the people in your life are so powerful. They have so much power over your trajectory in your life, because if you're always around people who are talking you down and you're always thinking badly about yourself, then you're going to think badly about yourself. You're going to aim low in life. You're going to think low of yourself. If you have people that are always bigging you up, always telling you you're amazing, you're good, you're intelligent, you're talented, you're beautiful, whatever it is, you're going to believe that, and then you're going to strive for bigger. If somebody tells you, oh, yeah, I think you can achieve that, go for it, you're going to believe in that, you know. It's ultimately also, if you have people that are being deceptive in your life or being hateful, that's going to have an impact. And so I think it's so important, the people we have, and this is what happens when you have family that just support what you're doing, and then are just happy for you, you know, and are not jealous, are just there, you know. And it was so nice to see, it was so nice to see Billie's family, and I'm grateful, and I really feel like her having them is a big part of where she is today. So yeah, that's all I wanted to touch on in this video. I just wanted to highlight her family and how important this is, and even for her, how important they are, and how I just feel like her having that allowed for her to survive this crazy industry known as the entertainment industry. Anyways, you guys don't forget to subscribe if you enjoyed this video. I would love to have you guys on my channel and check out my other videos. Don't forget to check out the Billie playlist. I think I'm going to rename the first video I did about Billie and this thing, because I don't know, it just wasn't really, you know. But anyway, don't worry about that. Don't forget to let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts. Also, don't forget to like the video if you did like it, because I'd really appreciate that. Other than that, God bless you all, and I'll see you in my next one. Goodbye.